This morning, we'll celebrate the contributions made by Eric Savage and the Freedom Auto Group to the Berks County community and with the Berks Encore Leadership by Example Award. We're very excited this morning to honor a company that has done so much for Berks Encore and our many programs. Eric Savage, Mr. Freedom, as he's known by so many. Mr. Freedom, you're here, right? All right. Is the president and owner of Freedom Toyota of Hamburg and Freedom Hyundai. His dealerships prioritize customers and their fulfillment and happiness, noting that his business exists for the benefit of others. For years, Mr. Freedom has employed the life improvement business as his business and personal motto. And I can tell you personally that I always feel better when I'm around Mr. Freedom. And he is such a good-looking guy, and a tremendous burden to pull off. But if anybody can handle it, it's Eric Savage. Mr. Freedom has his dealerships have donated thousands to various local nonprofits each year, including Berks Encore. And the Freedom employees volunteer regularly through the Meals on Wheels program. It is a great honor to honor him this morning, and thank you again for joining us for this special day. And now I would like to introduce Larry Dell, the Community Breakfast Committee Chairperson. Larry?
Thanks, Carl. If anybody leaves here hungry, shame on you. I'll say that. Craig, great job again out there. Unbelievable. Never heard of a martini egg, but I guess if anyone's drunk, we have drivers to take you home, so don't worry about it. So as you heard from Carl a minute ago, we're here to pay tribute to Eric Savage and his wonderful group, the Freedom Auto Group. Berks Encore and Freedom Auto Group both strive to improve the lives of the individuals they come in contact with every day within our communities. As we heard, they have a motto, life improvement business. Now what does that motto mean? It means that they look through their organization to help people when they purchase their car, when they service their car, and any ongoing needs that their clients have. Of greater importance is that they have employees who are able to live a life within their jobs, who learn how to give back to their communities. And that is what really separates this organization from many, wherein their people learn how to give back and be part of and to provide to the communities, not just the wonderful cars they serve and sell, but also by giving back through themselves. So with that, Eric, Mr. Freedom Savage, we are delighted. That tie is terrific. Welcome.
And you gotta admit, it's an awesome bow tie, isn't it? Yeah. So, I'm incredibly humbled to be here today. It is just a delight to be in this room, and I'm a little surprised. Freedom Auto Group really showed up today. I try not to make a big deal of these things internally, and there's a lot of people here from Freedom. So, Freedom, my gratitude to you guys for being in the house. And can you prove to everyone that you're actually here? Freedom, you in the house? So I'm going to start everybody off. I know it's really early in the morning here, and I want to start everybody off with a way to engage your brain, like to really wake up. So, Freedom guys, you already know this exercise, but nobody else here in the room does. Everybody, I'd like you to take your right hand and point straight up to the ceiling and look at your pointer finger. right? No elbows, straight up. Oh, wow, you're all actually listening to me. I love this. Okay, good. So now what I want you to do is make a really wide circle on the ceiling, like you're tracing out a clock. So start at 12, go to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, just go all the way around the clock. Nice big circles. Oh, you're a very talented bunch. Look how good you are. Okay, very good. Now, as you're making these circles, look back at me, but don't stop making your circle. Nice big circles. Now, as you're looking at me, I want you to bring your elbow into it and start reducing or lowering your circle until it gets below your chin. Right? Everybody got that? Nice work. Keep it going. Now, you started with a clockwise circle. Look down at your circle and tell me what direction you're going. I'm watching your brains explode all across the room. How do you do that? It's just a cheap car dealer parlor trick, honestly. Here's the deal, right? The only thing that changed was your perspective. It was the same circle the whole time. You just looked at it on its head or upside down, and it became a different circle. So I've just always found in my life that when I take my own life or things that I see in the world and I turn them upside down, something new reveals itself, and that's going to relate to what I say. I promise I'll make it relate. So you may not know this, but I am an extreme fan of things. I suffer from this disease, extreme SMIF disease, which stands for extreme simultaneous multi-interest fan disease. It's a really serious condition. It means basically that when I find something interesting, I become a super fan almost instantly, and I don't confine my fandom to one thing. It goes across thousands of things at the same time. So for example, I am an extreme fan of all things Star Wars. To prove it, I own my very own lightsaber, and I'm often heard talking to my children and saying, "I am your father." Proof. I'm an extreme fan of classical music. I'm an extreme fan of the island of Hawaii. I'm an extreme fan of history. Now, some of my extreme fan disease shows up publicly. Like everybody in this room right now knows that I'm an extreme fan of bow ties. It's pretty obvious. And thanks to Berks Encore's Cameron and his multitudinous Facebook posts, everybody on the Eastern Seaboard knows I'm an extreme fan of funky socks. And just as evidence, let me show you what I got on today. Ready? You loving that? Not bad? And what's really cool about that is because of Craig Poole and the generosity of DoubleTree Hotel. Thank you, Craig. This irrational obsession I have with footwear has actually resulted in meals for seniors, hundreds of meals for seniors. So thank you to DoubleTree and thank you to Craig. And to my wife, who has to deal with these crazy obsessions for me, you see, I told you one day it would pay off. We actually fed seniors because of this. That's kind of cool. So one last one that I would share with you is my fandom for Disney. Now, I am a rabid, foaming at the mouth, crazy class 5, category alpha, certified Disney nut. And to prove it, I wear a Mickey watch every day of my life for over 20 years. How many of you own a Mickey watch? Raise your hand if you own a Mickey watch. How many of you are wearing the Mickey watch right now? How many of you have been wearing a Mickey watch for more than 20 years? Ha! I win. See? Told you. Okay, very good. So I went to Disney a couple times as a child, but the first time I went as an adult was in honor of my wife's, Mrs. Freedom's birthday. She was 30 years old, and I took her to Disney because she had never been there. And so I thought it would be a really fun adventure. We took it just the two of us. It was before we had kids, and I got to tell you, I love going to Disney with my kids. Love going to Disney with my kids, but it's better as just adults. Don't tell my kids I said that. But it's fantastic to go as just adults. And we were out there carefree, footloose and fancy-free, having a great time at Disney World in honor of her 30th birthday. And, you know, there's sunshine rides, Mickey everywhere, it's all great. One day we're in line for Pirates of the Caribbean. You might know the ride. And it's a hot day. We were grateful because the line for Pirates of the Caribbean is actually under roof. And as we're under roof, it's set up to look like a Spanish colonnade. There's all these columns. And these columns are all square, and on each side of the column there's an iron ring which is used to create the stanchions for the lines to get people in. And we're just under the shade and enjoying our time waiting there, and we're in line with, I don't know, 10,000 kids waiting at Disney, right? I think we're the only adults in the line. And there's 10,000 kids, and what do the kids do in Disney? Well, you know, what they normally do. They're laughing and jumping and running and pushing, and they're crying, they're coughing, a few were throwing up, you know, what kids do at Disney. And so we're standing there in line, and we start noticing there's a sound, a repetitive sound. It's a clanging sound. It's going over and over, not just from one source, but from a multitude of sources. We're hearing this clanging sound, and it's getting really annoying really fast. We started looking around and wondering what it is, and we see that it is the iron rings. They are being lifted up and dropped. Clang. Lifted up and dropped. Clang. Again and again and again. Over and over and over by many, many very little hands. Now, Mrs. Freedom, God bless her, a school teacher who prides herself on a classroom that was ordered and controlled, was not pleased. She was kind of losing it a little bit, and she's looking at all these kids running these rings, and she's like, I can't get control of a 10,000 kid classroom. She looked at me with a bit of distress in her eyes and said, why are they doing this? And the answer is incredibly simple. I looked at her straight in the eye and I said, sweetheart, I took her hands in mine. I said, they're doing it because they can. That's the only reason. And that's just how kids work, right? They do things because they can. They don't think about consequence. They don't think about limitations. They're not stuck with the same considerations we are as adults, the same constraints. They simply look and say, I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I think about that, and this is a story that goes back almost 20 years. And that phrase, because they can, has become something normal in our household, because they can. We use it to describe anything that we don't like happening in the universe that another person or thing does. For example, my dog recently ate one of my shoes. Why? Because he can. Those crazy politicians this election cycle are saying what stupid things on TV. Why are they doing it? Because they can. We use it to describe any behavior that we can't seem to reconcile. It's just because they can. So why am I telling you all this? Well, I'm telling you this because at Freedom Auto Group, we've created something of a stir, not necessarily intentionally, and that is this whole thing about life improvement business. Every day, someone comes to me and says, I love this concept of life improvement business, or tell me more about how you bring giving versus getting into your business model. Or people will ask the question, how can you be involved in Freedom, be involved in so many community causes simultaneously, all at the same time, everywhere? Some people are often saying to me, Eric, you're incredibly handsome. You just heard Carl say it. All right, I might say that to myself a bit too. But the inevitable hard question comes after that. The question is, why are you in the life improvement business? Why do you point your business to serving others first? Or more personally, sometimes at home I might be lamenting about my packed schedule after a really busy day. Why did I agree to volunteer at my daughter's school this morning and then agree to do a Leadership Berks luncheon and then lead a committee meeting at Olive Boys and Girls Club and then finish with a mentoring session for the chamber all in one day? What was I thinking? My daughter, 11 years old, not skipping a beat, comes over. She puts her hand on my shoulder. She says, you do it because you can, Dad. You do it because you can. Takes an 11-year-old for me to go from looking at it this way to looking at it this way. In fact, can't we use that same expression instead of defining all the goofy things we don't understand in the universe to instead using that expression to define all the good that we do? Why do we do good? Because we can. So that's my answer to all the questions about why we do what we do. It's as simple as that day in Disney. We do it because we can. Now, that may seem like it makes us the nice guys or the good guys, and the truth is, we are. Come meet us. We're really nice people. But there's a problem with being nice guys, right? Nice guys tend to finish, come on, you know this. Where do nice guys finish? Oh man, that kind of sucks, doesn't it? We've seen it all our lives. The nice guys seem to finish last a whole lot of the time. The nice guy who stands up for his friend, he gets beat up. The good guy doesn't get the job because he had a clean resume versus the guy who's a little more slick and unscrupulous with his resume. The nice guy doesn't get the girl. Of course, that's not true in my case. I got the girl, didn't I? So, is it true? Do good guys and good gals finish last? The truth, the real truth is, yeah, good guys finish last. Now, before you think, oh my God, this Mr. Freedom guy is so depressing, hang in there, don't despair. The sentence isn't finished yet. The sentence was never supposed to end with the word last. The real sentence finishes this way: good guys finish last in all the races they refuse to run. Let me say it again. Good guys finish last in all the races they refuse to run. So think of it this way. The good guy who just wants the girl to be happy and doesn't get the girl, he wasn't in the race to get the girl. He was in the race to see that she was happy. The good guy who stands up for his friend and gets beat up, the race he was running was to be a true friend and prove it. The nice guy who doesn't get the job because the other guy was a little unscrupulous with his resume, he was in the race to live a life of integrity. So in our business, at Freedom Auto Group, we are not in the race to sell the most cars. We're not in the race to make the most money. And that allows us the freedom, if you will, to focus on being first where it's most important to us, in creating meaningful impact on all the people we meet, as many as we can, and in this community that we care so much about. Now, of course, we do need to sell cars and we do need to make a profit, so please come see us in Hamburg. RAV4s are only $99 a month. Okay. That's not at all what we're really about. We're really about improving people's lives. And these folks here, they prove it every day. It's not easy working at Freedom because we are so mission focused. It's really challenging. I don't know why you guys have chosen to join me in this journey, but man, am I grateful. I think when we realize that we can choose our own races and we have the courage to choose the ones that are right for us, we can clearly see the opportunities in front of us, the opportunity to serve, the opportunity to care, the opportunity to give, and the huge opportunity to love. And that's why I am just so incredibly proud to be in the same community with an organization like Berks Encore. And I think we're all in this together. I think you all get this. Berks Encore sets a standard, an extraordinary example of what it means to be in the life improvement business. They serve no other purpose than to make life better for seniors. Every day in our county, there are seniors, nanas and pop-ups, our nanas and pop-ups, who are hungry and they need a meal, who are sad and they need a friend, who are lonely and they need a conversation, who feel at risk and they need an advocate, and who are hurting and they need love. And we have this precious, rare, and exquisite opportunity to help. And we do because we can. Thank you very much.
For 50 years, Berks Encore has helped seniors live happy, healthy, and independent lives. But we're only able to do this with the help of amazing community leaders. In 2001, Berks Encore held its first community breakfast to recognize those outstanding members of our community who truly did lead by example. They valued the community in which they live and work. They stepped up to help those in need, not for an award or recognition, but simply because strengthening our community is part of their values. People like the Carreras, the Redner, and the Boskov families. Companies like Reading Eagle and East Penn Manufacturing. Institutions like our networks of colleges and universities. Each plays a role in helping keep our community healthy and strong. And today, we recognize Eric Savage and the Freedom Auto Group as part of this prestigious group of honorees. Eric, We are honored to present you and the Freedom Auto Group the Leadership by Example Award. Eric Savage and the Freedom Auto Group have demonstrated that being successful in business means getting to know and serve your customers. Berks Encore is incredibly thankful for Mr. Freedom's dedication to the life improvement business and his service to the community. Much like Freedom Auto Group, Berks Encore is in the life improvement business. We strive each day to fulfill our mission of enabling older adults to achieve a better quality of life by engaging the community in providing a comprehensive program of services, referrals, and education and advocacy. Please join me as we watch a short clip about Berks Encore.
With soldiers coming home and starting families in the 1940s, our country experienced the largest baby boom it has ever known. And throughout their collective history, these baby boomers have changed our society. They've made new choices about what they would do and how they would live their lives. And now that this population is approaching the traditional age of retirement, they're making new choices.
Baby boomers are not going to age in the traditional way we have come to think of aging in the United States. Many are retiring much later in life, and they are still wanting to be engaged and active in society. So as aging services look to deal with this population, we too will have to change how we provide those services and how we communicate with that audience.
Berks Encore is probably best known for their Meals on Wheels program, serving meals to over 600 seniors in our community every weekday. It takes an army of dedicated volunteers to prepare, pack, and deliver meals 5 days a week. And it makes a significant impact in the quality of life of the homebound population. In fact, Berks Encore has always relied on community volunteers to ensure our aging parents, grandparents, and neighbors get the quality of life they deserve. Initiatives like the grocery shopping program provide a helping hand when keeping your cupboard full becomes difficult.
We are available and we'll take your order and get your groceries to you. So that way we provide a service and you don't have to be at risk to go out in bad weather, to have risk of falling, whatever. And that way, I think it is a perfect way of providing what is needed for people who are desperately in need of some help.
If it weren't for volunteers, this program wouldn't exist. Even Joanne, the program coordinator, is a volunteer. They all work long hours making deliveries and keeping their customers engaged and safe. It's just one more way that Berks Encore and volunteers help the aging population stay in their home, maintaining their sense of dignity. Baby boomers don't want to age the way their grandparents did. They want to stay connected and involved in their community. Many go on to a second or even third career.
I started working in aging services because I had to do a career change myself in order to have more time to work with my aging parents. I found out about Berks Encore when I was trying to help persons with Medicare issues. I learned about the Apprise program, which is the state-funded Medicare counseling program. Medicare is quite confusing for anyone that's on it, but they do fund free counseling for anyone, and it's offered through each county.
Today, baby boomers face many questions about what's next. Maybe it's about retirement or how to care for their parents as they age. Berks Encore is a trusted resource for boomers to answer those questions, like options for long-term care, or the simple things like writing checks, sorting mail, and budgeting on a fixed income. On any given day, you'll find a lively crowd at any of our 6 senior centers in Berks County. They're making new friends, discovering new talents, exercising new muscles, even keeping up with new technology.
I am here as a retired teacher from Conrad Weiser High School, and I wanted to help at Berks Encore, so we have gotten some students together from the high school that come each month to volunteer their efforts to help the senior citizens learn about new technology.
A lot of times we don't know where to start to volunteer, and we're bashful about stepping out of our comfort zones and trying to give something to somebody. And here at Berks Encore, they're willing to take anything and everything you have to give and just be appreciative of it. I think just going and talking and communicating leads you to find something that you can give that you didn't know you had. You had a talent, you had a gift, you had an insight. Sometimes just lending an ear from either side is something that's beyond a benefit that you don't realize, just listening and talking and sharing.
While boomers are changing how we look at aging, one thing remains the same. Berks Encore is a place you can trust to help you make the most of your Encore years.
In the short amount of time that I've been at Berks Encore, I've been amazed by the people that I have met that have given to our program. You give selflessly of your time and your resources. When I think about last year alone, we had over 1,300 volunteers that participated in our Meals on Wheels program, our volunteer income tax assessment, our Medicare counseling, and even our grocery shopping program. You help us to fulfill our mission and vision. We also know that you help financially to support Berks Encore so that we can continue to help our senior citizens. We know that government funding is decreasing and the need for our programs is increasing. So when you're thinking about how to most effectively give back to Berks County, we hope that you'll consider Berks Encore because we want to help our parents to live a better and more fulfilling life.
Good morning. I'm Cameron Martin, Director of Development and Marketing at Berks Encore. Now, I'm curious, how many of you have your crazy socks on today? A few of you. I think it's a good thing we gave you a pair. But if you followed Berks Encore, Eric Savage, or Craig Poole on social media in the weeks leading up to our breakfast, we challenged you to post pictures of yourselves wearing your wild, crazy, and colorful socks in honor of Eric's fondness for crazy socks. For each post, Craig Poole pledged to donate a total of $6.08 for it's the cost of a Meals on Wheels meal. As you saw on the screens early, many of you participated, and we're proud to say that we fed over 165 seniors because of those posts. Now, you can still post pictures until the end of this week, and as I said earlier, you now have your very own pair of this night's socks that are made right here in Reading, so we expect to see some posts coming up shortly. We thank you for taking time to post pictures of your socks that will serve as a gift of generosity from one generation to the next. Now, this is my second community breakfast, and I can't tell you how blessed I feel to get to know community leaders like Eric Savage. To me, Eric's efforts in the community and his creation of the life improvement business as a motto show just how important a simple gesture can be, or how much joy we can feel when we help someone else. And think about it, we can help somebody just by posting a picture on Facebook. And that's why I can't emphasize enough just how meaningful these small gestures can be. It's a granddaughter creating a card for her grandmother. It's an adult child holding his father's hand as they walk into a retirement community for the first time. It's a volunteer delivering a meal with a smile to a homebound senior. At any given moment, we have the opportunity to impact someone's life. This morning, I'm asking you to make a simple gesture. Help us at Berks Encore to continue to provide the services to our parents, grandparents, neighbors, and friends that rely on our services each and every day. Did you know that Berks Encore needs to raise over $580,000 this year to ensure that our programs continue? With the help of many of you today, we're proud to announce that we've raised over $65,000 towards our goal, and with other fundraising efforts, we're only $345,000 away from our goal. Your contributions ensure that we can provide over 600 meals each weekday to homebound seniors, help seniors save an average of $828 on their insurance, operate 6 senior centers, and provide nearly 150 health and wellness programs that keep our older adults active, healthy, and independent. I ask that you take a moment and complete the cards that are at your table. Today, you have the opportunity to join us in the life improvement business. Now, as you're leaving this morning, members of the Berks Encore team will be at the back to collect your cards. On behalf of Berks Encore, I'd like to thank you for coming and thank you in advance for helping us preserve Berks Encore services through your generous support of this essential agency. Now I'd like to turn it back to Larry, who will close with some remarks.
Thank you, Cameron. And for those of you who want to walk out with your socks on, that's fine too. So you can take off your shoes, no one will watch, and just put them on. But a morning like this would not be possible without having a wonderful group of people that worked very diligently, made a lot of phone calls. I know many of you get these phone calls on a regular basis, but I'm just going to ask the people who were part of the program this morning in setting up this breakfast to stand as I read their name. And they are Carl Staples, Nancy Yoakum, Peter Barbie, Ed Barrett, Paula Barron, Tom Beaver, Mark Caltagirone, Renee Dietrich, Sid Forrest, Lori Gerhardt, Joanne Gruber, Chris Kraris, Bob Harp, Jim Langergan, Dan Langdon, Angie Latanzio, Guido Bacchini, Craig Poole, Tom Williams, and Walt Woolwine. These are the people who helped put all this together. I didn't see all of them stand, but this is a special group of people. You'll also see in your programs the event sponsors, and they were Brentwood, Brentwood Industries, East Penn Manufacturing, Santander, Freedom Auto Group, Land Displays, and the Reading Eagle Company, along with Enersys, who did the program's book sponsor. White Star was the Crazy Sock sponsor, as well as Precision Medical, and Tom Heck of Heck Brothers provided all of the centerpieces. Now, regarding the centerpieces, since this is June 1st, whosever birthday is closest to June 1st, that's the individual that gets the centerpiece. I don't care if it's 3 days before or 3 days after. I'll let you fight that out, but you get the centerpiece. And as you heard Cameron say, the Night Sock Company provided each of you with a pair of socks. Now, if you choose not to wear them, and that would make Eric Savage very unhappy if you don't wear them at some point in time. However, if you choose not to wear them, you can give them back to someone, to Berks Encore, and they'll make sure that someone else here in the community will get that pair of socks and wear them. So don't be bashful. You can put them on, or if you want to give them back, that's a terrific thing as well. So with that, I want to thank all of you. It's an early morning. Craig Poole, great job. How many people in this room is it their first time in this hotel this morning? Raise your hand. Craig will look for you to be back tomorrow, I promise. So I'll just close with thanking you again. I'll suggest too, if any of you are considering buying or leasing a car, there's the man. And it's not that far away. Hamburg's right around the corner. Eric, thank you. Thank you to all the group for joining us this morning, and have a terrific day. Thank you.